Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rokah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and bishops of Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and salutations to the prophets and beloved brothers. Continue to exhort the sheep in these last days. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect listening in, and to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Shalom, shalom. The title of this epistle is going to be entitled Covenant Refreshed. Covenant Refreshed. As the hopeful elect, those that have been given the eyes salve to see and have the blessed ears to hearken unto the voice of the Most High Yahweh, or Yahweh Shai, coming through his prophets, his holy vessels, his sanctified ones. We are being cleansed and washed and in preparation to take hold of the covenant that is being refreshed. Not the covenant of our forefathers, as when they dwelt in the land of Egypt and throughout all captivities through the ages, but in this current and last captivity, the revived Roman beast, the iron beast. Sorry, not trying to go too far, but we are being cleansed and sanctified and being made in preparation for the covenant to be manifested after all these prophetic things that are set to come. So we will go into the scriptures and maybe skip around a little bit, because there's a lot of verses that substantiate who the covenant was promised to, and so on and so forth. But we will try to keep it within the context of the covenant being refreshed unto our forefathers and to their seeds, us, the generation that has sprung up and have been given those lively waters, that manna from heaven, to now grow strong and be a strong pillar, hopefully. So let's go into Deuteronomy chapter 29, and we'll start at verse 9, and we'll read on through, because I didn't have a stop point on this chapter here. But Deuteronomy chapter 29 verse 9, it says, "Keep therefore the words of this covenant and do them, that ye may prosper in all that you do." First and foremost, right off the rip, the covenant is for those that are practicing what was said in the scriptures. Those that are not doing anything that has been written for us to prosper through the covenant blessings. That's who the covenant is for. Those that are doing the work of the Father. Those that are exhorting and teaching and building up a nation. This is who the covenant is for. So that should eliminate a lot of the debate of who the covenant is for and who is for not. For it is all written for you to see. "Keep therefore the words of this covenant and do them, that ye may prosper in all that ye do. You stand this day, all of you, before Yahweh your power, your captains of your tribes, your elders, and your officers, with all the men of Israel." So the remnant that was preserved from Egypt and unto this day here, the scattered abroad, it is being told unto our forefathers at this time in which it was written, that they all stand before the Most High Yahweh our power, and proclaiming that they will keep all his ordinances to be brought out of the land of Egypt and put in the land that was promised unto them, right? This is the purpose for the covenant being refreshed, because as we continue to wake up and bring back to remembrance who we are as a people, with the history to substantiate the harsh punishments, the bitterness of what came with the captivities, it brings all things back into focus, right? Verse 10, "You stand this day, all of you, before Yahweh your power, your captains of your tribes, your elders, and your officers, with all the men of Israel, your little ones, your wives, and the stranger that is in thy camp, from the hewer of thy wood unto the drawer of thy water." We'll probably go into what is being said here as far as the stranger that is in the camp with the children of Israel. That thou shouldest enter into covenant with Yahweh thy power, and into his oath. This is a verbal contract, a proverbial wedding ring being put on, if you will. It's a covenant oath, it's a promise, and you don't make a promise once you have vowed a vow. This is what is being said here. Which Yahweh your power maketh with you this day, that he may establish thee today for a people unto himself, and that he may be unto thee a power. And he hath said unto thee, and as he hath sworn unto thy fathers, he hath sworn unto our fathers, the Shemitic line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, neither with you only do I make this covenant with this oath, but with him that standeth here with us this day before Yahweh your power. He's making the covenant with those that are present in the sight of the Most High Yahweh power. He's making that promise. Continuing on. And also with him that is not here with us this day. Those that were not standing in front of the Most High Yahweh power that day is those that were going to be birthed in the future. The seed line is what he's referring to, because he says, I am going to make a covenant oath with you and your seeds and your seeds, only upon you doing what is required to stay within the covenant blessings, because if you sidestep those, you will receive the curses and the punishments and become estranged. You will be a stranger from the covenant. Verse 16, for ye know how we have dwelt in the land of Egypt, bondage, Mitzrayim, and how we came through the nations which ye passed by. Now the children of Israel, upon being taken out of their captivity, out of Egypt, out of hard bondage, they passed through the nations, and there was specific instructions given unto them as they journeyed as well, right? They weren't to go and cleave unto the nations in which they were passing by and start serving other deities and bringing accursed things into the camp. Right? They were supposed to be sanctified, set apart, and continue to follow the shepherds, the priests that have been set up to give them administration and guidance, so that way they can stay within the confines of that pasture and not be scattered. Verse 17, and ye have seen their abominations and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were among them, lest there should be among you man or woman or family or tribe whose heart or mind turneth away this day from Yahweh your power to go and serve the gods of these nations, lest there should be any you a root that beareth gall or wormwood. That's poisonous, right? Because once you start picking up the customs of the heathens and you bring that into the camp, you can now spread that through the philosophies and the practices, which can dwindle down the strength of our nation. Continuing on, verse 19, and it come to pass, when ye hear of the words of this curse, that he bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of mine heart, to add drunkenness to thirst. Why? Because now you want to learn the ways and the customs of the heathen. That's that thirstiness, that unsatisfying feeling that what you have is not enough. This is why our forefathers wanted to go and start doing other things, because they felt as though they lacked all things. But it was only until the point of chastisements, rebuke, being thrown out of the land, divorced, if you will, that then they reflected on, damn, we had it really good. Now we are being trampled on and stepped on by these other nations. And this includes our people this day, who went and are still serving other gods and calling themselves different things. Hindus, Buddhist monks, Muslims, and picking up all these outside practices. You're bringing up other deities into your lives, but this is not who you are as a nation people, and you will find out if you continue to serve them, you will be destroyed. Verse 20, and Yahweh will not spare him, his words, not mine, and Yahweh will not spare him, but then the anger of Yahweh and his jealousy shall smoke against that man, and all the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him, and Yahweh shall blot out his name from under heaven. This contract, this marital covenant, it was already vocalized within our forefathers, embedded within us as a gene tag, if you will, that them curses will always cling to us if we were to disobey and go chasing and a whoring after the customs of the nations. It is not until you are truly repented and separate yourself from every false way that you are now being brought back as a babe to eat the sincere, drink the sincere milk of the scriptures, to be retaught, to be reestablished under the order of what was the contract being set up. Sorry, where am I going? Verse 21. And we're still in Deuteronomy chapter 29. We're going to bring all things into context concerning the covenant being refreshed. That was to our forefathers and then to us, that seed line that stems from the Davidic line. Verse 21, and Yahweh shall separate him unto evil out of all the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in the book of this law. Now you are become a stranger and a foreigner to the children of Israel. So as the children of Israel were being brought into their promised land, those that went other ways before they got to the promised land were estranged and cast out. You are become a stranger to the tribes of Israel, but not until you have properly repented and now are circumcised. You get recircumcised. If that becomes an opportunity that he will grant you to be recircumcised, to now come back into the fold, so that way you are no longer outcast from our nation, then you may have mercy in that regard. But that comes from Yahweh himself. We are just only to guide the flock with the rod, stay within the confines of this way, and you will receive the blessings and not the curses. So that the generation to come of your children, this is who he's talking about, those that weren't standing with him that day, so that the generation to come of your children that shall rise up after you, and the stranger that shall come from a far land shall say, when they see the plagues of the land and the sicknesses which Yahweh hath laid upon it, the scattered abroad. We wake up and we say, this is the way to go. We are no longer strangers and foreigners in a strange land, but we are now cleaving to the covenant that is being offered as an opportunity to serve our power. If not, there will be other ways that you can go, which is going to cause a detrimental situation for you if you do not cleave to it. Deuteronomy chapter 29 and 23. And that the whole land thereof is brimstone and salt and burning, that it is not sown nor beareth, nor any grass groweth therein, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, which Yahweh overthrew in his anger and in his wrath. So it's almost like he built you a beautiful house, gave you a garden, gave you all these pleasant and beautiful things and all these things, but you went to whoring. He came and kicked down the door, saw all these things, kicked you out and burnt the house up and laid it desolate. So now there is no remembrance of who you belong to, where you dwelt as a nation, people, and so on and so forth. This is how jealous the Father is, and he is for his people. Verse 24, this will kind of give some light on the context of a people and aside other nations. Even all nations shall say, wherefore have Yahweh done thus unto this land? What meaneth the heat of this great anger? They're going to say, why did he do this? The nations. Then men shall say, because they have forsaken the covenant of Yahweh power of their fathers, which made that he made with them when he brought them forth out of the land of Egypt. For they went and served other gods and worshipped them, gods whom they knew not. So other nations, they worship who they worship, but it was not for us to go worshiping their gods. So that shows a separation within the covenant. The covenant is only made to the children of Israel, the 12 tribes and our seeds, to go and worship Yahweh our power, to cleave unto that covenant. We don't have a covenant with the other gods, but if we serve them, we will also receive of the chastisements, because that's committing adultery, a fornication, being yoked to another man, if you will, and that angers the Father. For they went and served other powers. Jeremiah 22:8. That is also stated in Jeremiah 22:8. Jeremiah 22:8. And many nations shall pass by this city. You can read the context of this chapter here too to really bring it into fruition. And many nations shall pass by this city, and they shall say every man to his neighbor, wherefore hath Yahweh done thus unto this great city? Then they shall answer, because they have forsaken the covenant of Yahweh their power, and worshipped other gods and served them. Right? That's where this verse here is being referenced in Jeremiah. Let's go to Psalms 89. Let's go to Psalms 89. We're touching key points is the reason why you see a lot of brethren go here and there, because it says to build understanding, you have to build it upon precept, because we're grabbing key points within the chapter to reinforce the understanding, giving you a whole new, a clean path to walk where there is no stumbling. So you have a concise way of bringing all this together. Psalms 89. We're talking about the covenant refreshed from our forefathers and to their seeds, the generation. We are the generation. Psalms 89. And we'll grab verse 3 and 4. And it reads, I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn unto David, or beloved, my servant. Thy seed will I establish forever and build up the throne to all generations. Selah. This is the covenant blessings that has been passed down from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and all the seed lines, the Davidic seed lines of the 12 tribes of Israel, to now come back into their natural folds, to be priests and kings and princesses in righteousness, so we can be a light and a guide to the other nations on how to properly live and put all things back into its proper order, right? Psalms 89 and verse 20. I have found David, my servant, with my holy oil have I anointed him. If you go and read back on the triumphs and the challenges and all the accolades that David presented on how he was so favored by the Most High Yahweh. He was an exemplary model alongside Yahweh Shai, having those same mannerisms, if you will, those same behaviors of righteousness. And he housed that holy oil, the wisdom that kept his lamp burning with knowledge and wisdom to be guided, and all fruits of the Spirit. He was found with holy oil and has found much favor with Yahweh our power, and which in the likes we would want that same benefit and relationship with the Most High Yahweh our power, housing that holy oil, showing that we would want to serve him and no other, right? Be that bride, that virgin bride that he desires. Verse 28 of Psalms 89. My mercy will I keep for him forever, and my covenant shall stand fast with him. His seed also will I make to endure forever, and his throne as the days of heaven. That covenant blessing has always followed, been behind the seed line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the 12 tribes, but not until they turn and start facing the covenant and going through the processes of being refined, that covenant is not reenacted in that seed, if that makes sense to you, because if you do not cleave to the covenant and do not choose his ways to walk in his will, you will receive the contrary, because your forefathers have already spoken for you. If his children forsake my law and walk not in my judgments, if they break my statutes and keep not my commandments, then will I visit their transgression with the rod, and with their iniquity with stripes. This is why, our dead bodies lie in the street. This is why we are hidden in prison houses. This is why we are redlined. This is why there is unjust decrees set against us, calling us 3/5 of a human being. This is why, when we come into the acknowledgement historically on why we have suffered as a nation people in the lands of our captivities scattered throughout, you can't run from this. No matter if you grab a passport and you go to China, you go to Bangladesh, you go to Tijuana, no matter where you go, that covenant is right behind you, along with the curses that are set up with you, because you're a cursed people. Still underneath the curses, until your redemption, until the refinement process is satisfied, until all of your iniquities are paid in full, nothing remains in your cup. Then you may have that opportunity to pass under that rod and be inspected very well, to now be put into a holy land. No longer will you have dirty feet, but you will now be walking in a land full of living water. 33. Let's continue in Psalms 89. Read a little bit. Nevertheless, my loving kindness will I not utterly take from him, nor suffer my faithfulness to fail. My covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that is gone out of my lips. Once have I sworn by my holiness that I will not lie unto David. That was a verbal contract that is from everlasting to everlasting. He has always left a remnant seed in the world until that portion is satisfied. He wants that remnant, that good cluster, the good figs, not the evil figs. The evil figs are going to be cast out alongside with the heathen nations that have polluted his inheritance, right? This is the just balance. I think we'll stop right there, and we'll go into, let's go to Deuteronomy. Like I said, we'll grab some from here and there, bring some context into the covenant being refreshed. I mean, there's many different avenues we can take, but this is what we're choosing today. Deuteronomy chapter 7. Deuteronomy chapter 7. Deuteronomy chapter 7. And from verses 6 to 8. He says, For thou art a holy people unto Yahweh your power. And Yahweh thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Right, he states that all throughout the scriptures, especially in Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 2, that he has chosen us amongst all people. Everyone else is like a drop in a bucket, spittle unto the Most High power. He will cast his shoe over Edom, and Moab is his washpot. It doesn't show that everyone is equal, linear, but there is a hierarchy and an order being established. This is how the Father wishes for the world to operate, the one that he has made, not by man's ordinances. Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 7. And Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor chose you, because you were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of the people, that remnant that preserved remnant, the ones that have returned, properly repented, broken contrite heart, separated themselves spiritually and physically from the ways and the customs of these heathen nations, and are being made ready like a virgin bride. Verse 8. But because Yahweh loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, hath Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondage from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. This is, in a sense, blankets all captivities in which the 12 tribes were set to serve, right? That we live now in a kingdom that has a Pharaoh over us, and Egypt represents that hard bondage, right? Know ye. Verse 9. Know therefore that Yahweh thy power, he is the most high, the faithful power, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him, and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. Not one generation, not 4 generations, not 8, but all generations. 1,000 generations. And love him. When you love him, you keep his commands. You observe his ways. You know, as a woman, a bride, adorned for her husband, if he gives her an order to set things properly in order in our household, and this is the way I like to keep them, and she should obey or reverence those commands of the Father. This is the same way how he moves. Let's go to Acts 26. Acts 26. Excuse me. Acts 26. Acts 26. Paul's trial, right? And when I read this chapter here, it reminds me of what is being said in Matthew chapter 28. Matthew 24, where they will bring you up to counselors and governors, and don't worry about what to say, because it is your Father who speaks in that same hour, and so on and so forth. You are pretty much representing yourself at that point. There is no lawyer that's going to be speaking for you, but he has put his words in you, right? That's mentioned in Matthew 24. And they shall be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another, and many false prophets shall rise and deceive many. There it is, Matthew 24:9. Then they shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated for all nations for my name's sake. That verse seems to escape me. But let's go back into Acts chapter 26. This is when Paul is, in a sense, speaking to defend himself against King Agrippa. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, Thou art permitted to speak for thyself. Then Paul stretched forth the hand and answered for himself. He says, I think myself happy, King Agrippa, because I shall answer for myself this day. This is the heritage that the Most High Yahweh power has put within his people. The opportunity to expel wisdom and knowledge and righteousness in their environments, right? I think myself happy, King Agrippa, because I shall answer for myself this day before thee, touching all the things whereof I am accused of the Jews, right? His own people persecuted him, right? Because they were in gross darkness. They went chasing after the nations in which they were scattered abroad, and the purpose of setting up disciples by Yahweh Shai was to go and retrieve those that have been expelled, cast out the land, right? And to receive, redemption and salvation, and believing that their iniquities weren't going to linger over them anymore. Let's go back into 26:3. Especially because I know thee to be an expert in all customs and questions which are among the Jews. He knew our laws, right? He knew the commands and all things. King Agrippa did. Wherefore I beseech thee to hear me patiently. He's just requesting that King Agrippa, given the opportunity to speak on his behalf, that he has patience with him. My manner of life from my youth, which was at the first among mine own nation. Paul is referencing himself belonging to a nation of people in front of King Agrippa. At Jerusalem, know all the Yehudim, the Jews, which knew me from the beginning, if they would testify that after the most straightest sect of our religion, I lived a Pharisee, right? Because Paul was the one chastising and rebuking the servants of the Most High Yahweh Power, right? But then, through his awakening being revealed unto him, given that Ruach HaKodesh, that Holy Spirit, he no longer kicked against the prick, but now he came to the realization of who he was, why he was the apostle to the Gentiles. Verse 6, and now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise made of the Most High unto our fathers. Now he has that hope, which is why he is no longer yoking himself with the customs of the society, but he has now separated himself and he's teaching others to do so as well, just like the Messiah did. Verse 7, unto which promise our 12 tribes, that promise of the covenant blessings and of the judgments were also put upon the 12 tribes of Israel, is what's being said here. Instantly serving the Most High day and night. He said instantly, because when you repent and come to serve the Most High Yahweh Power, now you have no other way than to walk forward, because if you turn back, you're going to be utterly cast out and destroyed. Instantly serving the Most High day and night, hope to come, for which hope's sake, King Agrippa, I am accused of the Yehudim. Right. So he has pleaded his cause there, and it shows that the covenant promises that Paul was speaking on was the covenant promises that was made from Abraham on down. Right. And that promise that was made from our forefathers on down, it is hanging over the promised seed, the hopeful elect, the 144,000 men who will be the governing body to govern the 12 tribes of Israel, and the law will go out from there unto all nations. Going into Acts 3, verse 25. Ye are the children of the prophets, and of the covenant which the Most High Yahweh Power made with our fathers, saying unto Abraham, and in thy seed shall all the kindreds of the earth be blessed. Those kindreds are relative to 12 tribes, because the law comes out of Judah. This is why that seed will rise up from the tribe of Judah, collect his brethren, all the other 11 tribes, and now they will be that arrow in his bow. He will now know how to use his nation as a strength, right? Acts 3 and 26. Unto you first, the Most High, having raised up his son, Yahushai, salvation. The Most High had raised up a risen Savior, a Messiah, unto the children of the prophets that pertain to the covenant that was made with Abraham, our fathers, in the beginning. Unto you first, Yahweh, having raised up his son, Yahushai, sent him to bless you, in turning away every one of you from his iniquities. The iniquities that were to be expunged, to be wiped and made clean, in being refreshed in the covenant of what is being asked is how you are putting iniquity away from you, right? This is how you are now eligible to cleave unto that covenant that is being refreshed. Oh, my back. Let's go to Jeremiah real quick. Jeremiah 34. That covenant, right? Let's go to Jeremiah real quick. Jeremiah 34. What's that say? Sacrifice of praise. Jeremiah 34, verse 13 and 14, it says, Thus saith Yahweh, the power of Yasha'Allah, or Israel. I made a covenant with your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondmen, saying, At the end of 7 years, let ye go every man his brother, a Hebrew, which hath been sold unto thee. This is your stranger, your brother that has waxed poor. Now there is laws substantiating how you are to treat that brother that is estranged, that lacks inherited blessings, right? Leviticus 25 goes into that. And at the end of 7 years, let ye go every man his brother, a Hebrew, which hath been sold unto thee. And when he have served thee 6 years, then shalt let him go free from thee. But your fathers hearkened not unto me. Right, they just abused that power. Nah, man, you haven't fulfilled your agreement with me, and now I need to hold on to you and your family a little longer, and now you're going to work for me forever. This is what the forefathers of our nations did to our people, right? Inclined not. And ye were now turned and had done right in my sight in proclaiming liberty every man to his neighbor. And ye had made a covenant before me in the house which is called by my name. Right. The children of this generation of the seed line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that turned back to our father and now are practicing the law, statutes, and commands out accurately to the best of your ability of what you are understanding. Now putting everything in order, right? Where can I go from there? Give me a second. Oh, that everlasting covenant. I made myself a concordance. Boom. Let's go to Exodus 32 and 13. Exodus 32 and 13. Exodus 32. Exodus 32 and 13. It says, Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, thy servants, to whom thou swearest by thine own self, and saidst unto them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have spoken of will I give unto your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. Right? There was always an inherited promise that came with the covenant, the contract, if we are to obey and do all things that are said therein, to have a life of a blessed life, everlasting, right? Is that everlasting covenant that we're speaking about, right? It's the covenant is also spoken in Jeremiah 31 and 31 and Hebrews 8 and 7 on down. Right. So with that, I'll close out, and I hope and pray that this was edifying to the elect and all those that may not had this understanding, or now there is some more precepts for you to fill in the blanks for your own understanding. And with that, shalom.